What's up, Buck fans?
Where's AJ? Oh dear. Oh, okay, there he is. Freaked me out for a second. Added to the stage. There he is. There's my man. What
What's
happened there?
going on, Buck fans? Sorry about that. Again, welcome to the Aftermath 102.9 Game Broad Street South Radio. AJ turn up in the house right now. Uh, Coming from another area in the sunny, great sunshine state, but I hope you guys are doing all right. Um, as it goes, the Bucs unfortunately lost, but according to everybody, that was supposed to happen. But we're gonna talk about this because this is why you trust in your Buck analysts like Coach Slick and I. We're gonna break down this game because all wasn't as it seems, and it still leaves that big question that all Buck fans are divided on: is the coaching responsible for the for the implosion of this team? I give it away to you, my man Slick, aka the British guy who's always flying on standby.
All right, so I would go. Yes and no, because it ultimately comes down to players as well to perform. We did speak earlier about Jamal Dean. I don't put that down to coaching. I put that down to him making about just making a bad play. And it effectively, you could argue that was the nail in the coffin for the Buccaneers because it was really an uphill battle from there. But there was stupid things that we saw that could have been cleaned up, that would have been smarter. So there was things like running on a second time. You gain 2 yards on your first run. Oh, we'll go and run it again, and you get nailed behind the line of scrimmage. It's like, well, now you've just made third down even harder. You don't want to gain any negative yardage. And sometimes it just felt like they ran without purpose. Now, I will say, from a Dave Canal's point of view, some of the play calls that he did put in were actually quite nice.
Yes.
It wasn't consistent and fluid enough to be a coherent drives. And of course, we had a few blunders where we coughed up the ball. That could have been a potentially scoring drive. I felt that the Buccaneers left at minimum 10 to 14 points on the board.
I'm with you, Slick. I'm going to go out on a hot take. The Bucs left 21 points on the board, and they left a victory. I say this for a reason. The nail in the coffin, in my opinion, was the Kittle touchdown. That is one of the most egregious, inexcusable plays I've ever seen in my life, and that is terrible from a defensive-minded guy like Bowles. Slick, you might need to teach him a thing or two because, you know, last time I checked, you want to look out for, arguably one of the greatest.
I didn't like the first McCaffrey touchdown where Devin White overcommits to one side, and I'm like, you should be playing right down the middle, dude. You can't be committed to one. You can't be committed to one side. I guess that he's lined up on him, but he needs to have eyes to that guy. The moment he moves, he's following. So that's your guy. You're following him. Don't matter where he goes.
And it's common sense, but this is where I always say this: scheme. I look at habits over schemes. If you look at McCaffrey is always, for the most part, going to be an outside runner. He's not running up the middle. So as you said, Devin, why the hell would you not cover the outside? You know he's going to want to go outside for a pass and get open. Now that is just piss poor coverage from Devin. But again, why would you put Devin White in that situation when you know that he's not good at that? If anything, I would have been okay if they would have him rush him. He might have been wide open, but at least take a shot there or put somebody else out there on him. The simple fact is, those two big plays, I do think everybody wants to go about the IU thing, but it wasn't, because our beloved Rick Hughes was saying you got your man coverage. But I want to tell you, Buck fans, when I say man coverage, I mean jam. You throw the guy off the line, but in hindsight, right now, Dean has not had a good season. Dean has actually been damn near a bust this season because every time he gets burnt, Slick, he gets injured. Now, I'm the kind of guy, Slick, where as a coach, if you're going to be injured all the day, all the damn time, I'm going to tell you, I need you off the field. I'll put you on IR real fast because now you are a liability. And Dean, ever since he got that check, it's almost like, damn, should we have kept SMB?
Yeah, I mean, it was frustrating to watch, to say the least. I mean, I think the Buccaneers, on the whole, they kind of got better as the game got on. It really was like they were getting punched around a little bit, and then they kind of settled in. They made their adjustments, but it was just a little bit too late. You could see that, especially in the fourth quarter, where they felt the Buccaneers kind of wreaked a bit of control in that game, and it looked like they were trying to get on track. Um, but it was just all for naught at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I Considering who it was, I'm not broken up about it. So I'm not, but I'm still like, there was a win, there was a possibility of a win there. Yeah, a lot of the people out there talking, the talking heads and the media and stuff, they had, we were 13-point underdogs in this game, I believe. So we were expected to lose. So losing this one doesn't hurt, but it's kind of like, damn, now it's that we got to play. We're playing catch up at this point, but we do have an easier slate of games ahead of the way. And that's what we got to be focusing on. We didn't get blown the fuck out, which is a positive. So that's how you got to look at it. And I'd say there's some members of this Buccaneers team I don't think Bolge completely trusts in certain positions, and you can see that because I think some of the play calling is based on that he doesn't believe in some of these guys' abilities.
yeah, exactly. And in that case, this is where the fan base is going to be divided because if that's the case, then why the hell do you have them in, and or why have you yet to play them to the best of their abilities? One of the biggest things that we saw, Slick, that a lot that even I was like, what the hell is this? Let's be clear, guys. And Slick, you might agree. Yaya is it should be the new starter.
Yeah, I know the guy.
Yeah,
I know the guy. It's done. It's done. It's over. That guy's got 3 sacks already, and he's a he's a second round draft pick, late second round, I believe, as well. Second round draft pick, and he's outperforming the other guy. They've got the same amount of sacks, mind, but a lot less touches, a lot less downs, a lot less time on the field, and he's definitely coming along. Kansi was quite quiet this game, but I think when you're focusing, the run really looked ugly at the beginning of the game. Like
yeah,
Christian McCaffrey was like first down after first down after first down. I was like, if we don't stop this run, they won't need to pass the football.
exactly. Well, the problem is
Don't worry about what our DBs can do because they probably all they need to do is tackle. And
exactly.
that is a bit poor as well. Tackling hasn't been good this year. There's a lot of times we get a Johnny to the spot, but then Johnny doesn't take the guy down, and then they shrug it off and gain another 3 additional 4, 5, 6 yards, and it takes them, and the rest of the body's going down.
I agree.
I think the team didn't. I think the team played bad, but at the same time, I don't think it's their worst. I think it was actually better than expected, and I
Yes.
think, but I do think they need to take the good out of this game needs to go into the next game because there was some stuff on offense, some plays. I don't know why they don't target Mike Evans and Chris Godwin more. I mean, you've got 2 bona fide superstars there, and you don't really use them, and especially Chris Godwin is criminally underused this year. I don't even know what his yardage is. I bet you it's something embarrassing, like less than 400.
Yeah, yeah. Well, here's another thing. This is why, and I want to go back to this. The fourth quarter, believe it or not, I don't care what anybody says. This is the first time in a long time that I saw the 49ers scared.
Yeah,
That defense
yeah,
was scared. They were actually, if you look at it, it was they had a oh shit. We're not stopping them. And Slick, what do you and I always say about Otten? They owe us an apology. Every
yeah.
time Otten goes in the middle, it's a wrap.
He's
Otten,
really really good at what he does. I mean, he was unlucky not to catch the touchdown. It did get kind of popped a little bit, so I mean you can't be mad at him for it.
yes,
But at the same time, like it's those critical moments that we need to turn into successes because everything was difficult for the Buccaneers yesterday. Everything
it
was
was.
difficult, and in fact, and I will give the credit is the inventive or creative looks that when we do some offensive plays were really nice, like we talked about exposing the field, but booting people out, that kind of a thing. Now we're hoping we come out with this with 2 things that were really bad. a Tristan Wirfs injury, and a Levante David injury. That is huge and critical for this season.
I agree 100%. I'm hoping, and what's frustrating, you want Wirfs to stay healthy, and at this point now, you can't risk it, because let's say we have an easier schedule. So with this, if I'm the Bucks right now, if you can't beat the Colts or the Panthers without Tristan Wirfs, then you don't deserve to win the division regardless. So at this point, this is about protecting Tristan Wirfs for the future. I want him to stay healthy. For the same for Levante. At this point, let's get these young guys in. But this is what was pissing me off, as you said already. Yaya was wreaking havoc not just in the pass rush, but in the run game. And the simple fact that he wasn't utilized enough is what made me frustrated with Bowles. I'm like, Bowles, what the hell? If anything, JTS, again, listen to us, Bowles. JTS is your guy that comes in to give Yaya rest, to switch it up so JTS can use his speed.
Felt like it was like the other way around, didn't it?
Yes, it was the other way around. I felt like they thought that, I think Bowles just thought that Yaya maybe wouldn't be ready, but Yaya is ready. JTS is the one, at this point, you want Yaya to beat them up physically, and JTS, if he can do anything, use his speed to to make them suck win. And that's what I was mad about. And also, they were not loading the box enough again. Purdy had too much time. Again, you want to, if you get beat deep, this Dean situation, I keep telling people, I would play man, and I still would have played man again. You have a team, good teams,
I
you
mean,
have to go out.
they played a healthy dose of man. To be fair to them, a lot of the
Yeah,
times where people broke open, it was usually because they had a route that broke inwards or broke out that
yeah.
hard hit break or something like that, like a slant or something like those. Were those ones that happens in man coverage. You've got to understand that there are man beating routes and it's what they're designed for. But they weren't. I would say other than they played a good dose man. Now there were some plays that I have seen pictures of and screenshots of that I think there's one, I can't remember who it is, who's caught the ball of the 49ers, and there's nobody around him, like absolutely nobody, and he's running downfield, and it's like,
That was
where's
Ayuk. That was Ayuk.
and it was on the left hand side of the field, so furthest away from the camera, and I'm like, wow. And then there was another one where they showed a play before where it was, I think it was 3rd and 7,
Yeah.
and you had 4 players 12 yards deep, 12 to 15 yards deep, and I'm like, why?
Again,
Why?
every time something goes, and that's the thing. That's every time something goes bad, it's typically because Canales and Bowles go back to the scheme that doesn't suit us. I want to go back to. I want to switch to Canales. As you said, why are you running every time the Bucks start playing good teams? When they're down, the passing is what gets them going. How about this? Like, this is what I want to challenge Canales. How about you start doing that earlier? I guarantee you, the run game that he really wants, it will happen because now teams are going to have to respect
They're
the
fearing your
pass.
pass. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and he's
I know.
not doing
And
that.
I think the problem is we do have when we run the football, because we're not very good at running the football, we have to go to an obvious running formation where we would load everyone in a bit tighter, and you
Yes.
can see and add extra tight ends or add extra linemen and what have you for run plays. So they know the run is coming because you've dressed it up as a run play, and that's what they need to start dressing up their run plays as potential pass plays as well. Because if I know you're going to run it because you have a set, and don't get me wrong, there are teams that will show exactly what they're going to show, but they're just that good at blocking. But because we're not that good at run blocking, like ideally, you'd want to be able to run a spread or trips and run out of that in an ideal world. Obviously, you can't. But like I said, I was generally happy with the some of the play calls, some of the different types of running plays that he put in, these couple of end arounds and things like that.
Hmm.
I like. It felt like they listened to us a little bit in the sense of like be a little bit more risky. I found the Buccaneers roll the dice a few times. Sometimes they came up short, and sometimes sometimes it paid off.
Yes.
I felt they rolled the dice a little bit more than they would normally. I don't think this was the most conservative game I've watched, and that's the thing I would take away from this is they weren't conservative in what they were doing. There was a little bit of conservative because obviously they did do cushion coverage here and they did do cushion coverage, but they didn't live off it, which was what I wanted to see. They were we're a little bit more aggressive here and there. I thought the Buccaneers defense actually played well in parts. The problem was they just couldn't string it together consistently.
They don't string it. Yeah, they don't ever string it together against good teams. This is just this game. It shows that they still have potential, but it's also another sign that this coaching staff continues to get outcoached. They're always being outcoached, and the thing is, you have typically when the Bucs are playing the good teams, they're in the early beginning they look lost, but then all of a sudden they want to turn it on in the end of the game, but it's too late by then. If you look
Yeah,
at it, the Eagles,
yeah.
we
Oh,
had
no, that is the MO of last season. It's the MO of this season too, for sure. I would
yes,
say that it's guard and guard and guard and guard. Keep the score down, and then it's like let's play a little bit more desperate because we kind of have to because we need to score. And we're not a team that's built for that. This is a team that's built for a lead. You need that offense needs to be aggressive, and the defense needs to be as aggressive as it wants to, as it can be. Um, if they don't believe in if they don't believe in the players, then you need to simplify and go with plays that you know that they can execute and stick to that. Because unfortunately, that's what you're going to have to do. And if that means you're only going to live it, you're going to live in cover one or you're going to live in cover two, then that's what you're going to do. You if you don't think they're capable if you don't think they're capable of doing the role that you want, don't. Why are you calling it? If I have guys who can't blitz, who are poor blitzers, I'm not going to call lots of blitzes. And I'm not saying like don't be aggressive. I just there are
yeah.
times where I watch and I go, why are we doing this? Like I said, that setup for that seven, it was 3rd and 7, and I'm like, well, all he has to do is catch a ball 5 yards and fall over, and he's already got the first down.
And this is
And
McCaffrey. Yeah, this is a guy like McCaffrey. He's shifty. You always want to take away a guy like McCaffrey's outside. You want to make him try to run inside.
I'm running the go route, but I'm just throwing it mega early. I'm throwing it the moment he jets off.
Yep.
So it's like a pitching. It's just out,
Yep.
straight out. And he'll catch it in stride, and he'll get the 5. And then if he falls over, he's going to get 10 or he's going to go the distance. And I think
Yep.
that's what I don't like because I don't understand the situation. Like I said, I've applied for the academy. I'm hoping to get in. I've also applied to join the national team of my country as well. So I'm hoping that would add some validity because they will pick somebody by the end of this month, by the beginning of December, some early December time. So I can add that to my resume if you go on.
Yes.
So coach nationally and all that kind of stuff. So. I want to understand the why because I'm a big believer of why. Why are you doing this? Why do you believe this works? I just
Yes.
want like if you can sell it to me, fair enough. But when I
Mm-hmm.
see it on TV, I'm like, I don't get it. Like I'd understand if this is even like the last drive of the game. The last drive of the game, they've got like a minute 27 on the clock or what have you. I can understand you giving up a bit more cushion because you want them to complete those short balls and you're going to make them eat and tackle them out in back, try and tackle them inbounds and eat up that clock and eat up that clock. I get that. That's the staple of the NFL, that prevent coverage. But
Yep.
why are we in this situation? We want to win the down, so we get them to either kick a field goal if they're within field goal range, or we get them to boot the ball back to us, and we have a chance
Yeah.
to get down the field. So I don't really understand some of the logic because I'm looking at guys 13 yards back and you show that little yellow line, and I know that yellow line isn't real. I know that yellow line is superimposed. It's not guaranteed, but it's only going to be millimeters off, maybe a quarter of a foot, which is about that much. You know what I'm saying? So I don't
Yeah.
really understand some of the stuff that we're doing. I'd like to, though. I'd love to sit in that room and find like, well, why, what do you believe cushion coverage achieves? Put me through it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of.
I'm with you. I'm also a question of do you if you're more scared of your opponents, then why are you even doing this? Because again, Fred Warner was balling, but at the same time, when yeah, sometimes despite with how good that guy, those opponents are, you have to challenge them because if you let them take
It's
away your
easy.
game, yeah, some certain situations, I was sitting here saying, why isn't Evans being targeted more? Evans was still. They were saying, oh well, they took Evans out. They actually didn't. Evans was getting separation. Palmer was getting separation.
He had a
Ott was
great
getting
month,
separation.
to be fair.
And these guys, but at the same time, Canales always goes into turtle mode, like a Bowles when things are on the line. And one of the biggest things that pissed me off was the drive before when it was an incomplete to Evans. Now, in my opinion, it should have been a pass interference. But what I didn't like, I did not, I still didn't like the play call. At that moment, you want to get the first down because if you look at the defense, the
Hmm.
49ers were protecting that end zone because they knew where we were going. They knew where we were going to go. At that point, this is where you get someone with good speed in there, Palmer, and you know what would have killed them? That wonderful crossing route. If you looked at it, the crossing route, I think this game would have hurt the 49ers, especially when their guy got juked out of his pants by Rashad White and he was out. When he was out and when Ward was out, I said take advantage. The Bucs weren't doing that. They were taking too many deep shots. The play before that, why are you throwing into the end zone? Get the first down first and then
Yeah.
do a hurry up offense and then you can score that way. Every time the Bucs get an offensive
I'm
rhythm,
going to
it's
kind of
like
put
they
that kind of
stop
stuff
it.
to Baker Mayfield. He's the one who goes for the reason, decides who to throw it to. So at the end of the day, that was probably poor from him.
Hmm.
He didn't have his best game, to be fair. I like the thing I like about Baker Mayfield is he seems what's the best way? He's just got nuts and he doesn't give a shit. Like I
Yeah.
like that attitude. I love the attitude. I just wish he wasn't so like the two turnovers were heartbreakers because they were on drives that looked promising.
Yes.
Yeah. And if those drives turn into touchdowns, and I don't want to ever say they're touchdowns because you don't know they're going to be a touchdown until they're a touchdown, but you look
Yeah.
at those being, let's say they turn into touchdowns, the game's won.
The game's won. I agree. And also, you have to know, you have to, this is where I also put it still the blame on Canales. You have got to design plays in crunch time to your Godwins, to your Evans, not Tompkins. Now, people say, oh, Tompkins should have caught it. I get it, but that's Tompkins. There's a reason why you don't go to him in those crucial moments. You go to somebody with experience. Hell, get better play. At
Chris
that point,
Godwin,
I
Chris
would have.
Godwin hasn't dropped a pass all season.
Right. I would have gone to Rashad White at one point. Rashad White would have been devastating. Can you imagine him in a running back play where he blocks and then rolls out and he catches it? We already know he's shifty. That's a first down right there, and hell, it might be a touchdown. That's why I say 21 points were
Maybe that's
left off the
here
board.
you go. You just got my juices, darling. We got to run. We'll dress it up like a run, but instead of we're gonna fake hand off the ball, we're gonna play fake the ball. He's gonna go and block and then release, just like you said, and leak into the flats, and then you're gonna pop it to him.
And it's
Boom.
a touchdown. That's a touchdown. And here's the thing: Purdy and them did not want to be back out there when the Bucks offense was taking care of their defense. The momentum was shifting. At
Yeah.
that point, I was sitting there. If the Bucks scored that touchdown that they did to Mike Evans, that would have made the game, I think, a lot more interesting. But I have to get this out the way, Slick, because a lot of Buck fans ask me to make these questions. As you would always say, I don't like blaming refs, but there was a chill reality that made me very frustrated. Sometimes the better teams are gonna, and their home teams too. But if they're better, they're gonna get away with a lot of things because Mike Evans was extremely held on that catch. That was full blown pass interference. Do
Yeah.
you agree?
There were a couple of plays actually that there was pass interference or hold, definite like super holds on, and you're like, well, why are we not calling these holds? Why are we not?
Exactly.
I know holding does happen, but when it's really obvious, like I'm talking, you got a guy literally hanging off him. That's when you've kind of really got to have a word with these referees and go, look, guys, we can't have games like that. Like,
You can't have games like that because then this is where the skeptical conspiracy theorists will come out and say, well, you know what? Vegas made the call. This is why they didn't do it because Palmer, when he got knocked out of bounds, when he ran out, I didn't see them call a penalty.
nope.
When Baker threw that interception from Tompkins, Bosa slammed him by his collar, horse collar. I didn't see of roughing the passer, and I just love how you had all these asshole wannabe people. No, well, technically he was in the pocket, and that's not. I'm like, okay, we cut the shit because we've seen them do that for far less. Because I guarantee you, if Levante David does that to Purdy, they would have called it. So this is where, if you're gonna be fair, you have to call a fair game. And at that point, I can honestly say, Slick, I was a little intoxicated, but I still had common sense to go, no, if the Bucks wouldn't have gotten that call, the Bucks would have gotten that call if they did that act to the 49ers. So you're right. Refs need to sit back and really have a talk and say, hey, because I wanted to say, and I tweeted to Goodell, I said, the jig is up. If you want certain teams to win, just say that so I don't have to put in any emotion. I'll just sit back and go, okay, this is what's supposed to happen. But those plays were inexcusable, and I enjoy Baker for being honest because if Bosa would have gotten in my face, I don't think I could have handled that when he
You
tried to
know,
tap him on the
he didn't
shoulder.
get to block him. That was all. That was a sweet moment. That was a
Yeah,
sweet moment.
yeah, I couldn't do it. I
We got
couldn't have
we
done it.
got blocked by a quarterback.
Yes, and you heard how he tried to say he didn't block me. Palmer was faster. Bosa, he blocked you because you're
Yeah. I agree. I agree with him. Yeah, yeah, what he's faster, but at the end of the day, did you could have made the play and you didn't because you were being blocked. You could see he was trying to find out which way he was going to go because I think he was trying to think, is he going to go this way or is he going to go that way?
Yep.
That's part of beating a block. But
Yes.
you've got to decide. And I've always said to my guys, I always want you to block. If you're going to shed a block, shed to the outside because you should always have help from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing this, looking over his shoulder, he's going to go. He's going to beat you because he can just run. You have to shed a block and go get him.
Mm-hmm.
Your leverage. You got to shed the block, get your leverage, get the hit, and put him down and grip him, put him on his ass. That's a lot harder than him just deciding which way he's going to run, left or right.
Exactly.
It makes sense to always go outside because you're stretching the field horizontally as well.
Agreed.
When you have people who run sideways and you're like, dude, they're going to tackle you. Stop running sideways. It's not working. You know when you get those punt returners and they just literally go like this, side to side,
Yes.
you know? No. And then they get tackled and you're like, you literally made 15 extra fucking steps in no direction. You gained us
Just
zero. You did an additional 20 steps and you gained us a quarter of a yard. Thanks for that. That was
and
really helpful.
yeah, and the thing is, I want to tell these guys, you're not Devin Hester. Just stop it. You don't have Devin Hester abilities. So as you said, just run forward. And this is, but again, I agree. But Bosa is he kind of had a little. That was a little bitch made moment of him. It's like you're just mad that a 6'1" guy took you out of your game, and you're supposed to be this big time. Nick Bosa gave me Micah Parson energy at that moment. Like when thing goes well, he's cool. But either way, though, I do like the fact that you're right. Baker shows heart. I think he shows character, and he will give you those boneheaded plays once in a while. But um, Baker is still the
You get
best
boneheaded
quarterback.
plays of everyone, really. I mean, you can go look at any quarterback. No, you can't tell me that there's a quarterback that doesn't make a boneheaded play.
Agreed, agreed. And he is still
Tom Brady, when we had him, made boneheaded calls. Well, plays.
absolutely. And Baker is, and ladies and gentlemen, Buck fans, Baker Mayfield is still the best quarterback in the NFC South by far.
I agree. I agree.
It's not even close. It's not even close. Derek Carr, and now this is where I would like because we have to get over it. I got over it literally the same day, Slick. I said what I said. I said my little spiels, but I said this. Like you're right. You said, guys, go back and watch our last show. Slick had already told you the 49ers, they outclass us talent wise all across the damn board. The only thing they don't outclass us with is receivers. I and I don't give a
I
damn.
agree.
Ayuk is good, Debo is good, but they're not Godwin and they're not in the sure shit not Mike Evans. Did you know that if this is Evans' seventh touchdown and he has more touchdowns this year than he did last year?
Yep, I do know. I do know that, and he's just shy of 800 yards at the moment. So
Exactly.
I hope he gets the 1,000, 10, 10 years of seeing that guy do his thing, and I hope he gets it. And obviously, it proves the naysayers that said he can only do it with Brady because they didn't realize that. I had no idea that Tom Brady played for the Buccaneers for that long. Do we get all the championships that he won in that 10-year period, including the ones that he won in Foxborough? Because I'll take an extra 2 or 3 championships to go with that.
And people forget the first 2020 season he barely got 1,000 with Brady. So what are they talking about? People
Mm,
forget that it took him to the last game of the season almost to get that 1,000. So it wasn't like Brady and Evans were Devontae and Aaron Rodgers or Jerry Rice and Steve Young combination.
nope.
Sometimes people just got to it's the thing that
But we all know from a statistics point of view, his best year was the year that Winston went 30 for 30.
yes, absolutely.
Statistically, his best season, the most yards he's ever had, and I think one of the most touchdowns he's ever had as well. Because
Exactly.
he had seasons with Brady where he had like 13 odd touchdowns, um, etc. That kind of thing. But the issue on the table was he weren't getting the yards because he was only ever used in red zone situations.
Exactly. And it's so funny. The irony now is that is the script is flipped. Evans is getting some love, but Godwin is hardly getting no love at all, and it's a disrespect. It's a detriment. But this
But
is
he's
where
probably the best route runner on the team. He probably has,
yes,
and he has the best hands on the team. He's got
yes,
thick enough frame that he's not going to get out muscled
yep,
by a corner. Maybe a safety, but corners probably won't out muscle him. He is criminally underused this year. Like Mike
yes,
Evans is probably where he is normally because we're already talking about him getting to his 1,000, and we've got what 5 games left.
yeah, he'll get it.
So he'll get it in the next. I think he'll get it in the next 3. I always want him to get it before the last game of the season. And this is
Agreed.
because no one can turn around and say, "Oh, they had 17 game seasons; they could do that."
I think you know what he's going to get it against the Panthers. Watch, he's going to have he's going to get it against the Panthers. And if he doesn't, it's gonna he'll get it against the Panthers. I guarantee you. In 2 games, he'll get his 1,000. I already expect against the Colts he's going to have 100-yard game, and I damn sure know the Panthers he's going to have 150 plus. You heard this here, Slick. So
Into
if the
existence.
Colts game, he will get somewhere between 70 to 98 yards. The Panthers game, he will get between 100 to 165. So he'll have it. And then he's going to get 3 touchdowns within those 2 games. It's going to be 2 with the Panthers and 1 with the Colts. So mark that down. But yes, Godwin has been criminally underused, but also because Canales doesn't know what to do with him. But this also comes down to quarterback play, and here's why. Brady loved Godwin because he loved, like you said, his intermediates, his route running. Brady doesn't care about people's physical greatness all the time. He cares about what you can do schematically and how it fits.
Mm-hmm.
It's and again, we already said Baker likes Evans because he's a gunslinger. Baker has that gunslinger where he wants to throw the shit in the air and he wants Evans to get it. But this is where Baker is going to have to learn. Godwin can do that too. Godwin can be a deep threat as well, and switch it up. Some certain plays make Godwin go deep and make Evans do the short catches. Let Evans be the dink and dunk guy sometimes, and let Godwin beat them. As you said, it's not that many safeties that can out muscle him, but also open the damn playbook field. Palmer's speed was ridiculous. I don't even think, honestly, Slick, I don't think the 49ers didn't take him serious until the end of the game, because that's when they start saying, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Yep.
But again, this is where the Bucs are going to have to. Again, as you said, I wasn't that broken up, Slick, because this is a good team. This is a team that's Super Bowl bound. If they stay healthy, they can. Between them and the Eagles, they're the 2 best teams in the NFC. Now, here's where the real kicker comes in, Slick, and we're all, and I know Bucs fans, we're all questioning this. It's basically going to depend on how the remainder schedule works out. I say this: if Bowles somehow makes this team, we have 6 games left. If the Bucs go 5-1 and they beat a team in the playoffs, Bowles is not going anywhere. 5-1, and if the defense gets back to being dominant, he
Hmm.
won't go anywhere. But again, that's where a lot of people are stuck. Do you want the Bucks to do really well, and that means bowl state, or do you want them to implode, and then that means potential? Now, I don't believe in
But
tanking.
you got to look at the full picture, and the full picture is going to be a season, right? And you're
Yeah,
going to look how did the Buccaneers win those games? That could be
yeah,
one of the questions. Did the offense get better? So could you take the last seven, because we've got 7 games left? Could you take the last 7 games, or let's go with the last 5 games, and say if you put those into the next season and they play like that, they can do X, Y, and Z, like we did with Coach Bowles in his Bruce Arians in his first year, and Coach Bowles comes along and is the defensive coordinator, and the group gave up a lot of touchdowns and stuff to begin with, and then they got tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And by the end of the season, it was just because Jameis Winston was throwing pick after pick after pick after pick, and they were defending short fields or they were on the field way too long. But they always kept the score. They kind of kept the score respectable. You could see that they were becoming a good defense.
yeah.
And so you look at that, because that can. I got to see defense continue, and I need to see the offense take that step, because Coach Bowles is probably, if Coach Bowles is in, and I can live with Coach Bowles for another year. I can. I don't know if I can live with Dave Canales if his offense is stagnant.
I agree. I agree.
I think
I
Bowles will keep him regardless.
and yeah, and unfortunately, it's like a dilemma because you have to be fair because this is Canales' first year to ever coach anything. Because what if all of a sudden he gets it right next season? He comes back, him and both come back, and
I
Canales
mean,
is like,
that's the price you got to pay, and it's the same thing with the head coaching position, right? You fire your head coach. You go and find a new head coach. How many head coaches want to come to Tampa with a 50 mil of the budget gone? Now I know it's not as bad as it looked last year, but it's not going to be as clean as you want as well, because you've got to re-sign people. How is the new head coach going to want to re-sign Mike Evans? You don't know that. Like that, these are genuine. Are they going to? They might look at Levante David and he's done. I don't think he can keep going. That person might want to re-sign some of the players that we were hoping maybe disappear or don't come back or don't feel like they can contribute. Maybe Devin White gets the extension instead of Antoine Winfield. You don't know what you're going to get until you get it. I don't think that's going to actually happen, to be pretty
I don't either. I think
honest.
honestly, Devin White more than likely has played his last season in Tampa just because he hasn't uplived to the. I think that would almost damn near doom, would not damn near, but what doomed him, in my opinion, was his behavior before the season because it put unwanted pressure on him. Had he had played to the level of what he asked for, that would make things so much more complex. But he hasn't. So, if anything, in hindsight, other people are going to go, we don't really need you. We don't need you because you're not doing
I
what you
think
claim that you're good at.
I think free agency will humble White.
I agree. I do
Uh,
too.
I think he'll get a good. I think he'll get a decent deal just because of his age, and he is an explosive player. Um, but I could easily see him going to a team that is desperate for a linebacker, rather
Yeah.
than a team that wants him to like to be the guy. Like I just did. Like, desperate teams will throw money at shit players. We know this as Bucs fans because we've done it plenty of time. Remember Robert Ayers, the defensive end? We I don't even know why we signed him.
Me neither. I remember that. I remember.
Completely wasted money, and he had a big deal. The guy who ate the Twinkie on the sideline, Nick Baker,
Chris Baker.
Chris Baker, sorry, yeah, Chris Baker,
Chris
trash.
Baker? You mean Chris Baker? We
Yeah,
call him
yeah, yeah.
Chris Baker. Hell, Chris Johnson from the Bengals. He was supposed to be the next DN to get us double digit sacks, and he robbed the Bucks. I agree with you. I agree 100%.
So different teams will spend the money. Will spend the money. You got to be smart and try and find the right fit. Like JPP had that written on him before he came. I was like, is this guy really going to be that good? Because he's been tailing off a little bit at the New York Giants. is this going to be the next Robert Ayers? Just an aging vet that's not going to. I mean, he contributes like a like you can't even make it up. We get our first double-digit sack guy. We're still waiting on that 1K. We're still waiting for that 1K running back. So that's hopefully going to happen. Obviously not this season.
No,
Obviously it's not going to happen this season.
no, next year,
No, let's not be
next year.
surprised if the White doesn't end up having like over 1,000 yards in scrimmage yards. I can believe that for sure.
I agree. I can see that. That might be the way. In a way,
I think Golden, yeah, there's some good names here. None. This is what we mean. We've spent money. We've just got to be intelligent with money. There's this thing you have when I always look at free agents. I want to see more than 1 year. I need to see one more year because more than one more year because I don't want you to be a flash in a pan guy, right? You go and have that year like Geno Smith. Geno Smith is a great example. I said to you when we were talking about guys being signed and what maybe guys we could go with, you've got wary of a guy who's just had one good year and throw money at him because you are going to be stuck with him for X amount of time. The Giants have done it with Daniel Jones, and I said to you during our pre-game talks or our pre-season talks, and I said to him, why on earth didn't they extend Saquon and tag that ass, Daniel Jones ass? Because if he turns into a fucking pumpkin, which is what he did,
yes, he did.
you've still got the superstar running back. And the superstar running back, yeah, okay, the value of running backs isn't that high. You're probably signing him for $12 million a year. It is a lot of money. You're paying quarterbacks a little bit more than $12 million a year, bub. You're paying them close to an average quarterback will probably still make 20 million. And
Yeah.
you're stuck with him for years. I don't think they can leave him for at least another year. They're stuck with him for another year.
Damn.
Rob.
Yes.
Well, I say one buck, probably go to another team and eat.
Exactly. Agreed. Agreed. But this is where you have to know the player's abilities and you have to know your direction. Again, Canales, what is your direction? I know you want to run the ball, but right now that's not what it is. There's a lot of teams, there's a lot of coaches that love to do something, but they listen to reality and they go, okay, you have superstars in Evans and Godwin. You have these guys. You have Palmer with his speed. You have Rashad White, as you can already see, who's basically a misplaced slot receiver at the running back position. Use the pass first, make up those things, and then you never know. You do that. Now all of a sudden the box is not loaded anymore because they're so scared. Now you can get those runs where if you want 5 to 7 yards, now now we can do that. But you cannot do what is predictable. And every time we play good teams are going to make you pay.
Yeah. We play down a little bit.
We
Sure.
play it down all the time. Now, this is where
The
it gets
conservative
interesting.
approach that we have does not work against good teams. It works against poor teams because it means you can keep the game manageable. When you're
Yep,
playing against other teams who want to go for the jugular, who want to go for the knockout shot, you're putting so much pressure on your defense to keep this team score down, keep this team score down. You're going against a powerhouse team. And that's the only thing I would say against football. Even with the crappy coverages and the cushions and things like that, we're still a respectable defense. We've had one really, really, really bad game, and that was a couple
the
of weeks
Texans.
ago.
The
Yeah,
Texans, yes.
the Houston Texans when we let them score up and down the field, and we shouldn't have. But for the most part, and that's probably why I'm not ready to give up on bowls yet. That's why That's the only reason so far. Um, but I want to see. I want to see the whole picture. I want to see what's really going down. Now, you just talked to me about the misplaced slot receiver. Let me have this for you. You like a bit of offense? How about we go spread? We got the spread out, and then I'm going to motion him to the slot receiving position, and then I'm going to run an end around.
Yes. I love it.
There's no one thinking that's going to happen in an empty set. You
Yes.
motion him out to trip, so he's the number 3 receiver, and then you go and send him on a run because no one's expecting a run. They're going to come down and they probably will blitz because if you're going against something like an empty set, you want to blitz the middle because it puts so much pressure on that quarterback to think because he's got 2 guys bearing down on him. I'd zero blitz on that shit. Every time I see it, I zero blitz because quarterbacks have got multiple reads all at the same time and a shit ton of pressure coming at them. But yeah, you throw that, pop the ball to him, and he goes on a little merry run. I could see with his speed and the way he can cut when he needs to. I think that could be I wouldn't say a play you can use all the time, but just spin out there. And every time you do it, change it up a little bit. Actually, run a pass out of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now for me personally, a zero blitz. If I get my guy to do what I say, oh yeah, I'm gonna zero blitzes will be touchdowns every fucking time. Here's why I say that. You just said it. The key thing. What do I always like to say? Kill the middle. I want somebody to throw in the middle because my thing is my one of my biggest things I love is to put a speed guy in that slot and have him run like a hard short slant up that middle because like you said if the linebacker blitzes that leaves that middle field bare and if my slot receiver who has 4.3 speed as in Palmer he makes that catch and the safety doesn't, but and the safety is too far back.
I think
Yeah,
sometimes you look at where players are in the field.
yes,
So if you've got somebody like Palmer who is fast, or even Chris Godwin who can change direction very fluidly, if I see that hit the guy who's guarding him is in an apex rather than over a shade over him, then I'm running away from him because it's harder for Chris Godwin to do his job. Once I know that they're in zone or man, and he can just Salah's hit to one place, put a foot in the ground, and literally run the opposite direction. And that guy's going to bite, should be biting hard. And then you're just creating space because he's away from you. And that's something I always try and tell my players: like, be aware of where you are on the field. We play shading off the inside hip of the wide receiver. Yeah, that
yeah,
means very susceptible to outside passes. However, luckily we were a zone team and we usually have someone in the flat, but um, we do occasionally play a little bit of man. And I
yeah.
said, in man, that's your weakness. Your weakness is that because the shade naturally takes you away. You can play heads up, but then you can get beaten any direction because you're right in the middle. I don't want anything to come inside. I'd rather the ball go outside because it's a harder throw to make um, generally. And we play mostly zone anyway, so I'm not worried. We do the ask the sideline type of thing. It's not my thing because I prefer traditional myself. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I think teaching people the ask the sideline shuffle technique is so much easier to teach, and they can pick it up a lot quicker. But it's really difficult to do manning
I
because
agree.
your
I,
hips are turned in a completely different direction.
and you know what play I want to see, and I know that you might like this because it's Godwin. I'm gonna do trips. I'm gonna do it like this on this side. It's gonna be Evans in the slot and Palmer on the one side, and Godwin. Here's the thing: Evans and Palmer are gonna go straight go routes because you know what that means. Safety and the corner is gonna have to pick up either or. But here's the secret: and if they play zone coverage, because he gives Godwin that much cushion, Godwin does a little undercurrent route. He throws it to him immediately.
I
Because,
got one for you to add to that, to add to your repertoire there. As they're running their go routes, they have an option route where they can throttle down and come a comeback as well, dependent on what they see. So if the corner and the safety are bailing and creating the separation away from them because they don't want to get burnt deep, now you're throttling down. So that will be the option route in there, and then you've got your obviously into your intermediate immediate throw. I like that.
yeah, you see what I'm saying? It's one of those things where if I'm gonna look at what scheme you're gonna play, oh yeah, and oh yeah, I'm gonna make you pay, and that's what they're gonna have to do. But let's just say this because again, the game's over now. We're done. Bowles, you did what you did. We don't want to hear anything else. Now,
I don't want to
moving
know about practice.
yeah, no more practices. Now, moving forward, in my opinion, these are your starters. Yaya is the starter automatically. JTS, he comes in to give Yaya a break. Because for all you know, that could be a blessing for JTS. I think a guy like JTS, he can't handle the pressure of being a starter. For all we
Hopefully,
know,
he might be really useful in the fourth quarter where players are starting to get a bit more worn out, and that speed comes into great effect because he's fresh. His legs are fresh. He can go straight in and start eating. And maybe he does get those game breaking sacks, those game wrecking sacks on fourth down, a drive killer for the end of the game, the last drive of the game. They're trying to get into field goal position, or they're trying to get into um, score a touchdown and win the game. And you send him, and he just goes like a bullet. And that defensive lineman, offensive lineman, that tackle has been going back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth with this power guy all day, occasionally seeing you, and then all of a sudden, straight behind it, and it happens so fast. The guy fumbles the ball, the Bucs pick it up. That kind of
See,
thing.
you're hearing it from a defensive mastermind, Bucks fans. This is all we're trying to say. If we know this, this is why Slick wants to get in this program and ask the why, because this could actually help. And I do think that, in my opinion, which what we just mentioned would help. Yaya with his strength and durability, and he's quick. He's beating them up, and then a guy like JTS comes in. It's not that they wouldn't know. Yeah, it's not that.
Yeah, they used to say that about the running back position, didn't they? They used to have one guy who could thump it up the ball, thump the ball up
Yep.
the middle, and you have that one guy who was just so quick, no one wanted to attack him. We kind of had that with Warwick Dunn and Mike Allstott.
Yep, thunder and lightning. That's what
Thunder
we
and
call
lightning.
them.
Think of it from a defensive point of view, where you've got one super quick guy who's gonna make you go shit. I need to commit, because I've always said the problem with JTS, he gets washed out of plays because all they got to do is play fast. That's all they got to do, as fast as you can get, and keep your leverage, because he's not ever going to do. I've said to you 100 times, if that guy could control his body, put a foot in the ground, and change direction and go inside, it's gonna open up for him. He is blessed with a speed. The unfortunate thing for him is he can't seem to control the hips and that body. He can't control his rump, so to speak. He
Hmm.
just goes one direction, and that's kind of it. And that's why a lot of the times you see him, he's close to getting sacked. He's grazing the body, but he can't seem to get a hold, because it's easier for I think sometimes speed helps, because it helps the offensive lineman out, because all they got to do is one thing. When you have a guy who can change direction, who can play power speed and has multiple different pass rushing moves, you don't know what you're going to get. Like, that's why spin moves make offensive linemen look stupid, because
Yeah,
it completely breaks their minds, because they're trying to do one thing and they can't. And JTS comes across to me as very one dimensional in what he can do. So
I
maybe
agree.
you stick him like a dog later on, when that offensive lineman is tired and worn out. His legs are a little bit underneath. He can't get his legs underneath him anymore. And you hit him with a quick shot.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's the kind of guy where um uh, with him you know what he's gonna do, but if you can't stop it because you're tired, it won't matter. That is the kind of guy that I think he is. And at this point, Bowles, you just need to do that. And also, we need to start seeing what more can Savassier do. We need to do that, and we might get that opportunity because if Levante is hurt playing the Colts, I don't think I. In my personal opinion, Levante and Wirfs, if they can't practice, the Bucks still should have enough to beat the Colts. This is not again. You just struck back and forth and went toe to toe with the heavyweight like juggernauts of the 49ers, and you didn't embarrass yourselves completely. This is the game, as you said, Slick, where they got to stop playing manageable and dominate games. Dominate the Colts. Dominate the Panthers. There is no excuse to only beat this team by 10 points.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just looking at David now, and he's headed for an MRI. That was 7 hours ago. So maybe on Twitter we might find a little bit more, because the beat writers usually tend to put some stuff up there a bit quicker. Um, but yeah, I believe it was groin.
Yeah, yeah, something that Devin was going through. But that's my point. For the next Bucks game for the Colts, if you can't beat them without Levante or worse, then you don't even deserve to win this shitty division. Get these guys in here, Bowles. Yah, as we already just said it. That's your starter. Leave that shit alone. JTS, he had his opportunity. He didn't rise up to it. No hard feelings. For all you know, we just said it. We just gave you a scenario that can help you, Bowles. Now, let's see what Savassier can do. Let's see what these guys are gonna do. I think Kancey is gonna have a bounce back game. I do think that because the Colts, people forget the 49ers have one of the best lines in football as well. So it was hard for him, and I think his rookiness showed. But with this Colts team, I think Kancey can bounce back. So I will give you that. So what, like, in your opinion, what is your feeling coming into this game with the Colts?
I mean, I haven't really looked at a lot of cult stuff, so I do believe that we are more than capable of beating them. Um, I believe that we've got the players that are capable of kicking their ass if we need to. We need to. For me, it'll be the case of do we play down to them? Because if we do
Yes.
that, we're going to let them live. We're going to let them breathe, and we're going to let them have moments, and then that can be dangerous. And we've seen that with Atlanta. We saw it with Atlanta last year, where they almost came back, and it took like a play to finish them off, and they got upset because they didn't get a call or some shit.
Yes.
My point being is we can't with teams like this. You've got to kill them off early and often, so they know there's no hope. And once you know hope them, now you can be conservative. Now you can be a little bit more okay. But I mean, when I mean kill them off, like you're up by a lot, as in they're like fuck.
Yeah. If it's 24-0 the second
But
quarter,
they're looking at
that's
the playing sheet going fuck it. I'm just gonna call one out for now. You got to get them into a point where you've beaten them, like, and you've made it look easy, and the defense.
yeah.
Then you can be a bit more conservative, and then the moment they start to squeak alive, go aggressive again and say, "Oh, you trying to wake up? Are you? Get the fuck out.
Essentially
Stay
what the
down.
49ers did to us. They said at the 49ers like, "Oh shit, hold on, wait a minute.
We got
Let
to sort this shit out now."
Yeah, it was, oh wait, hold on now. Hold on. I like the fact that the Bucs made the 49ers go, wait, oh, hold on now. Hold on now. Hold on. But yes. But now with this Colts game, I agree. I do think this is the game. This is the part of the season where Canales and Bowles, if you want to save your jobs, you just go all out. You go all out, balls to the wall. No need to bullshit anymore. Do what you got to do because in their minds, it should, this is a way to save my job. Canales, at this point, you want Mike Evans because look, let's again, if Mike Evans, let's say Mike Evans goes off slick and gets like 200 something yards, where he gets the 1,000 yards that game. Now Evans would have more incentive to stay because now he can say, well, damn, they really, that meant a lot that they wanted me to get that, and that means they value me more. And if they blow this team out in the process, now you've created a confidence in this young team saying, okay, you know what? We still got some shit to work on when we play the big dogs, but at least when we play teams that are beneath us, we're taking care of business. You're right. The Bucs need that signature blowout win. The Tennessee game was not it, Bucs fans. The Bucs need a team where the score should be 38 to 10 or some shit like that. Yes. It
Yeah,
needs to be that kind of
do
game.
that signature win. That the it's got to be 30 points, and it's got to be like they're either sub double digit, under double digits, or just broken into double digit. No more than 13 points.
Yes.
You need to
So,
have that. The Buccaneers that need to have that signature school crushing win that they can turn around and go, right, our offense can do it. We're
mm-hmm.
more than capable of it. Okay, you play against better teams, it's going to be harder, but you know what you're capable of. They need almost like a training wheels game.
Yes.
That's how they need. Just be aggressive, make your plays, and
Yes,
yeah.
and on that note, we're going to be talking about that in the next few days. When it comes to that, this Colts matchup, we're going to get more into it. Of course, we got to wait till the injury report comes to practice, see what they're going to talk about. But we will do that. But I'm going to get on out of here, guys, because my birthday tomorrow, and I got to celebrate. I got to get going. But as always,
It's my
check
son's
us
birthday
out.
tomorrow.
Yes. What's up?
It's my son's birthday tomorrow. Well,
All
technically,
right. See,
but in my
greatness.
time zone, it's you're the 21st, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So mine's the 22nd.
Oh, okay. So see, guys, it's always greatness in November. We are nonstop November people. But again, thank you for guys for tuning in at the aftermath on 102.9, the game Broad Street South Radio. Please continue to follow, share, subscribe, and just spread the Buck word because all we here try to get Slick to get his position as the intern, as the coach for the Buccaneers, and anything that Slick does. Just when it comes to coaching, he's a leader among men. So show some support. And as for me, you can always check me out on my podcast. It's about fucking time. Go to my link in Instagram and get some nice gear. But as always, you guys take care and go Bucks and take care of yourself, Slick.
Look after yourself. Have a great birthday, yeah?
Thank you, my man.
Much love. Okay, guys, that's pretty much the end of the show. So I want to thank everyone for coming in, like Christopher Cole with his great comments that he's been putting in. Yeah, I agree. Shaq was a great free agent for us. Ultron Werner. I remember telling my wife about Ultron Werner. She said, "Is that a Transformer?" No, no, that's a Bucks player. There you go. That says it all. Maybe we need to do a segment: worst ever Bucks players in in each era. Maybe in each decade. Fred Moore, happy birthday! Yep. Our boy AJ Turnip. It's his birthday. It's his birthday tomorrow. Well, technically today for me. It's also my son's birthday today on the same day as him, and then the next day is mine. So I'm gonna hit that 38 mark, and I'm gonna enjoy myself and probably have myself a pizza, a few beers, and enjoy some presents. Probably play the new Spider-Man game if truth be told. And guys, without further ado, I want to thank everyone for joining in. Anyone who comments, shares, likes, and does things for us, we greatly appreciate everything you guys do for us. We got a big game coming up. Then Buccaneers are playing, and then we got to make sure we win them. I hope this year, even if we scrape into the playoffs, even if we scrape the division, I hope there aren't guys going, I wish we had a better draft pick. I wish we had a better draft. We should have canned games because we should. Man, imagine saying that 2 years in a row. Do you want this team to be successful? Well, I only want to be successful when we can win the Super Bowl. Okay, football doesn't work like that. Sometimes there are teams that play slightly above their station. This is a team that can do that. I generally believe it. And without further ado, guys, Bucks on me, Bucks on free. 1, 2, 3, go Bucks!